But let's check in with the folks I got here. Ewok, how you feeling tonight? As Coffee mentioned, we do have HEX. Man, you said it before we went on air about quad sevens or something. 777.
777. Feeling lucky. We're doing the 5-5-5-5s, but now we're getting a whole bunch of sevens. Yeah, things are looking good. Things are looking good.
Yeah,
things are looking very good.
It's weird. Like the higher the price goes, the more I just doom scroll through Twitter because it's actually fun again. It's not like I'm just sitting there just enjoying the pump like all you guys, and oh my god, it's glorious. And I mean, we might even tap 10 cents, maybe even higher. It all depends on PulseChain testnet and what's the Fed gonna do. But I think we've got a couple of weeks of just blue skies.
I think so too.
I think you're 100% right. And I mean, we'll get into this, but I mean, all it really takes is even also just looking at the chart. I mean, not only do we have a lot of bullish things obviously going on with HEX, Richard mentioning what the progress with Pulse and that V3 public testnet is probably just right around the corner. But, there's just a lot of air between 7 cents up to about 12 cents for HEX as well. I was just telling Ewok off the air, like when we were in that 6.5 cent zone, even though we weren't even there that long, I could just like feel it coming and just knowing how quick we could fly after 7. So
you're like, who's selling at this point, right? It's like we've gotten such a we're domain specific experts on this one particular cryptocurrency. Not a lot of people have that luxury. So we've kind of analyzed every single whale that could possibly ever, be dumping. And we've got eyeballs on them all the time. We're, cheering when they're selling the bottom. Everybody loves to throw the whales under the bus when they sell. But hey, people take profits whenever they take profits. But it's like, all the sellers that we're gonna sell, I think they're all out. And so when we were bouncing around 6 cents, it's like who's really selling at that point? Not a lot of people. I mean, everyone's kind of probably of the same mind where there's not a whole lot of resistance, whether or not you want to go from a technical standpoint or just a fundamental. Not a whole lot of resistance from 6 to 10 cents, especially. I mean, even liquidity conditions are, everything is kind of lining up perfectly, and I love it.
Stars are lining, that's for sure.
The stars are definitely aligning, and I guess we should start off really just with what Richard did say the other day, and we'll get into a couple other things we want to too. But since it is kind of top of mind, he sent out that thread the other day, basically saying where we're at with PulseChain. Ewok, I don't know if you happen to have that pulled up, or if you can pull it up here or anything, but
I can.
Basically, it sounds like V3 public is right around the corner. So, Coffee, what did you kind of make about that tweet where we think we are maybe with Pulse, mainnet? And I was talking to Ewok off air. Do you think we definitely are going to get a public V3? It's not just like a private one. Like we will get a V3 before actual.
I think it would be responsible to do a public V3. I mean, there's a lot of developers out there, a lot of people building stuff that need to redeploy their contracts and see if it's all working still. And it's probably going to be fine. And, it's the same code and everything, or same Solidity contracts. There's no need to really change much, but who knows? I'm not a developer, but there might need to be some integer changes to accommodate, the extra zeros from ETH 2.0 rather than BSC or little things like that. So, I mean, I feel like it'd be irresponsible not to do a public testnet V3.
Right. And, also, it's been how long since, V2's been out? I mean, I don't even remember when that was.
It's been like a year at least. It's too long. But
and I saw it. I forget who said it the other day, but on Twitter, somebody said something like, everybody's waiting for V3, but you guys aren't even going to touch it. You're just really waiting for Pulse to come out. And I think that's probably true for, I don't know, maybe the majority of people, that it's like, will they even really get in and mess around, or is it just kind of a price catalyst thing? But talk about that, Coffee, because we're going to get into, Pulse launch and how important and how hectic that's going to be.
Yeah.
But Ewok, you too. I mean, both you guys, like, what do you think is going to be the importance in having that familiarity with just playing around in the testnet?
Well, look, I mean, I made a whole bunch of videos back in the day when V2B came out, tutorials about how to familiarize yourself with this stuff. And it's really important that if you're listening and you've never played around with it, you need to get off your ass and go try it, because like, if you're going to hit the ground running on day one with all of your life savings invested in some project that you've never even tested, and you've had the ability to test it, but you didn't, that's negligent on your part. I think it's your responsibility as an investor to go see how you can use this. And it'll also help you sleep better at night if you're going to try any, pre-bridge strategies. And, we can beat that dead horse to death, but everybody wants to talk, everyone's scared, nervous, trying to strategize about what they should do, the best way to strategize is prepare. Just educate yourself early on. And if you haven't played around with testnet V2B, go do it now. I mean, I imagine V3 is going to be relatively the same, but I know myself personally, I'm curious about quite a few things. Like the staking is going to be totally different.
Yep.
So that probably is going to warrant a couple new tutorial videos. It's we're forking Ethereum 2.0, which is a lot different than Binance Smart Chain, a lot better. So another opportunity to basically, test things all over again. And it's really up to you. It's the user's individual responsibility to prepare themselves. Nobody can really handhold you or guide you. All I can do is make a video, but it's one thing to watch it on a screen, and it's another thing to actually go click around and realize that this is actually a real thing that's materializing. Right. Understand what gas costs are, understand what the block speeds are that you can kind of expect. Do a limit order, because if you want to be smart early on in the accumulation stage of PLS or PulseX, you need to know about limit orders. You should probably know about validation and staking too, even though it's probably above most people's pay grade, honestly, the validation part. But I might do it only if it's easy enough. Like if Alex from Hedron just hands me a box and I pay him, $1,000, he gives me a box and I plug it in, and that's my validator, great. But I'm still not convinced that validation is going to be totally profitable right away. But nevertheless, it's my job, right? This is what I kind of built the whole brand around. So it's my responsibility to test it, play with it, make tutorials, but it's also everybody's individual responsibility too. I mean, imagine putting $1 million or a couple $100,000 into something and just, letting it go by and not even bothering to check up on it.
Right. And especially while it's free, it's a good thing to get in there and play around and make mistakes while it doesn't cost you anything, as opposed to, once it goes live, trying to figure it out then.
Yeah.
I think it behooves people to at least get more familiar with it and understand the interface and everything before it comes out. And we may, just because V3 public may come out doesn't mean that like PulseChain mainnet is right around the corner. But there seems to be a lot of momentum right now that I think people are warming up to the idea. Look, just the time frame. Like it only takes literally like 2 months. I mean, Christmas here in the United States. Like, I mean, everything was like the SEC and HEX and stuff like that, and Max Fear and all this stuff. And now suddenly it's like, dude, PulseChain could be any day now.
Yep.